Hi there and welcome back to the M5Stack official channel. It's Luke here. For this video I'm going to be focusing on a much talked about problem in the ESP32 community. That is the certain driver and connection issues with macOS Catalina. This video will also serve as an update to the previous video that I did about setting up on Mac. I'll be covering how to set up your M5Stack devices in Arduino, in Uiflow, on macOS. I'll be placing timestamps in the video, so if there's anything you want to skip towards, look down below. First up, we'll need to install the serial to USB drivers. Most ESP32 devices include M5Stack, use Silicon Labs USB to serial conversion chips, so we'll need to download the drivers from their website, which is scilabs.com. If we search VCP for virtual COM port and select the first search result that comes up, also known as the USB to UART bridge drivers, click on the link and scroll down to the only Mac OS download available in the list. Once you've downloaded and extracted the zip, go to the troubleshooting folder and drag out the package. Open the package installer and follow the steps. Now that's installed, let's open a terminal to check whether our device appears. Insert your M5Stack device and type ls/dev/tty.* into the terminal. Your device should show up as slab.usb to UART if you're using an M5 Core, an M5 Go, or an M5 Fire. If you connected an M5 Stick C or M5 Atom, it'll show up as TTY USB serial followed by a string of numbers and letters. Now there's some other essentials that we'll need to install, and we can do so from the terminal. First, if we type sudo easy_install pip, we'll install pip, a Python package manager that we'll use to install some other things. The first of those is PySerial. We can install that by typing pip install PySerial. Once that's installed, we'll also install ESPTool. Type pip install ESPTool. Once that's all installed, we'll check the COM port and use Mac's built-in serial console screen to connect to the REPL Python prompt of the device. We enter screen followed by the port name followed by the baud rate 115200. If you already have Uiflow firmware installed, you'll have a prompt that looks like this. Otherwise, if you have some Arduino firmware or the stock firmware, some other text may scroll down the screen. Now that we've successfully been able to communicate with the device, let's go about installing some software. We'll go to m5stack.com to download the Uiflow desktop IDE. Click onto software, choose downloads, and then choose the Uiflow desktop IDE. While that's downloading, we can also go over to arduino.cc to download the Arduino IDE. Now go into your downloads folder and launch the Uiflow desktop IDE by right-clicking and selecting Open. The first thing we'll need to do in the Uiflow IDE is to go into the top left corner and choose Firmware Burner. This tool will allow us to flash the Uiflow firmware onto the device. If you get an error message like this, close the software and drag the Uiflow IDE icon into the Applications folder. Then relaunch the software. You can select the firmware version you want to download from the drop-down list, and then click Download. Before we burn the firmware, we'll have to tweak a few settings depending on which device you're using. For Stick C, we'll select the USB serial port, then select the highest baud rate, and first erase the device. Then you can click Burn to flash the firmware. Once the device is successfully flashed, you'll see the message Burn successfully. If you receive an error, try changing your USB cable around, swapping a USB cable, or make sure you've selected the correct port. You can repeat the same steps for flashing M5Stack Core, Go and Fire, and also M5 Atom. Now that we've flashed the Uiflow firmware, before programming the device, you'll have to make sure that you're in the device's USB mode. For M5Stack and Fire, press the rightmost button on reboot and then select USB mode from the switch mode list. Click on the settings menu, select the correct port and device, and after you click OK, you should be greeted with a connected message. Now we can do a quick test program for each of the devices. To put the M5 Atom into USB mode, press the reboot button on the left hand side and then hold in the screen until it changes to blue. Then quickly release your finger. The modes for programming each of the devices in Uiflow are different, so make sure you're in the right one for your device. You can tell which device you should be programming by looking at the picture on the left hand side. To enter USB mode on the stick C, you first press the left hand button and then quickly press the right hand button. If you see the USB icon on the screen, then you've been successful. If you do have any issues with the device disconnecting, you can simply click on the small refresh icon next to the version number down on the bottom bar. Now for Arduino. Drag the Arduino app icon from your download folder into the applications folder, and then start the Arduino IDE. To get programming the M5Stack devices in the Arduino IDE, we need to add the board definitions for these devices and add the libraries. First, click on File and go into the Preferences menu. We'll need to grab this link from the M5Stack Docs Quick Start Guide page and paste it into this box. Once that's in there, we can go into Tools and then go down to Board Manager and search for ESP32 devices. Now click Install. This will install all the board definitions for all ESP32 devices, including M5Stack devices. Now for the libraries. Let's click on Sketch, Include Library, and then click Manage Libraries. Now all you need to do is type M5Stack in here to get the libraries for M5Stack, M5Stick-C, and M5 Atom. Install them one by one. Now for a quick test of programming each of the devices. We'll need to make sure that we've chosen the correct device from the board definition list, the correct port, and the baud rate. The baud rate is different for each of the M5Stack devices. For the M5Stack Core, Go, and Fire devices, you can choose any of the baud rates. However, for the Stick-C and the M5 Atom, which both use the ESP32 Pico chip, they require a different baud rate. Generally, I find 115200 works best, but you can check the M5Stack docs for other possible baud rates. For the M5 Atom, we need to choose the ESP32 Pico kit board definition. As all of the examples use the LED matrix, we'll also need the Fast LED library to run them. So go into the Library Manager and download the Fast LED library. And that about covers it. I hope this clears up your Catalina based issues and that you're able to make lots of great programs on the M5Stack devices. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.